Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
This experience has stuck with me since I was a kid. Recently, I moved back in with my parents due to some financial trouble to the same house I grew up in. Taking out the trash one night caused this memory to come back to me in vivid detail. We lived one house away from the end of the street, which was a T intersection, because it's a pretty normal, blocky neighborhood. Being the generally jumpy and over-imaginative child I was, I would never like going outside at night, because I was afraid of the dark, or what was around the corner at the end of the street, or any number of completely normal things. One night, I was taking out the trash, which is why doing it as an adult triggered this recollection. And I did my usual routine of look right, look left, run the bag out to the can at the street, and sprint back to the door. Tonight, however, upon looking left, I saw something. It was a humanoid, vaguely feminine figure, standing in the center of the intersection at the end of our street, maybe 30 yards away. I don't remember its face, but it was wearing a tattered white robe, and the image that sticks out to me were the shredded sleeves streaming in wind that wasn't blowing. It had long, almost platinum blonde hair streaming along with the sleeves. I swear, it looked like an all-white version of King Ramses, pick-related. But I never watched Courage the Cowardly Dog as a kid because, as you can tell, I was a little wuss. It stood there with its arms outstretched to its sides, and as it began to lower them, I got the hell out of Dodge. I've never told anybody this story before, even when I saw it again. The second time was coming home from my older brother's baseball game when he was in high school, and I was dragged along because I was a kid. This wasn't long after the first encounter, less than a year maybe. It was night after a doubleheader, and I rode home with my mom since my parents had to meet at the school, and my dad drove some of the other boys home. As we turned onto my street through the same intersection, I glanced through the rearview mirror from the back seat, and I saw it there. It was in the mirror, in the same place, standing in the same pose, blowing in the same wind that wasn't there. This time I saw more of its face, and it was almost human, except for its mouth. It looked like it was too big, and the teeth were visible even though it was closed. The memory reminds me of Melina from Mortal Kombat, but like before, I wouldn't have known of this character at that age. I looked away from the mirror as fast as I had glanced up at it, clammed up, and immediately bolted inside when we got to the driveway. I didn't stop to look again to see if it was there between the car and the safety of the kitchen door. I've decided to treat this as just another instance of my overactive imagination, but the clarity of the memories as I moved back home was haunting. I keep wondering if I'll see it again. And I remembered something else as I typed this story for /X. I called it the Siren in my head as a kid because it looked inviting. Well, as inviting as it could be despite my spooked status. Here's to hoping I don't.
Be me. Be on my first deployment to Iraq. Be set to stay in a combat outpost with 15 other dudes. My face when I find out I'll be there for the remainder of the deployment. Hear stories of a demon in the surrounding area. Blow it off because I don't believe anything they say. One night, pulling shift, watching through night vision goggles. See a goat. Laugh because I am bored, and the goat is doing goat things. Can see something else sneaking up on the goat. Thought maybe a wild dog. Run goat.jpg. The goat can hear it and starts running. The fucking thing stands up on its hind legs, looks like a dog but tall, and chases and finally catches the goat. Eating the goat. Ripping it to pieces. Fuck no, not my goat. Unload on it with a M240. It takes the bullets like a champ and runs. Wake up the whole combat outpost from the gunfire. Explain what happened. No one believes me. Check out that area the next night to see the goat with its intestines ripped out and the heart gone. Black blood covering the ground around the goat. darker and lumpier than normal blood. My face when they actually believed me. I don't know what I saw, man, but it was a fucking spectacle.
Pretty sure I saw a Peremalfait once in my neighborhood once or something similar. B18. Walking home at night from my girlfriend's house. Her neighborhood is on the other side of a major cross street. Cross the road and enter my neighborhood. Happen to look and see what looks like a weird-shaped plant in someone's side yard. It looks like a mini willow tree that was cut in the shape of a crouching man. Stop to stare at it for a moment, thinking how weird my neighbor's plant looks in the dark. It turns its head and stares at me, paralyzed with fear for what felt like forever but was probably only like a minute. It just keeps staring at me with yellow eyes, like almost glowing yellow eyes. I'm stuck in a staring contest with a fucking bushman. Luckily, my house is only like 50 feet away. Finally managed to break the stare and book it to my front door. Don't bother looking back to see if it followed. Walk by that house the next day when it's light out. Can confirm there wasn't any bush in the spot where the thing was crouching. I never saw it again, but that's really the experience that made me start taking paranormal stuff seriously. It took me a while to find any real-world cryptids that fit the description, but the Peremalfait is the one that most closely resembles what I saw. The only thing is that Peremalfait is supposed to be from Florida, and I live in California, on the opposite side of the country, so I don't think it was exactly the same creature, but it was definitely something similar.
Probably the scariest shit I've ever experienced in my life happened about a week ago. In military on a training exercise in the middle of the bush. Business as usual until the fourth night rolls around. My section gets broken off to do a recon patrol to get a route for the company. Patrolling through an area we've never seen before. Massive rocky re-entrance and features. As we're moving along, one of the guys notice what looks to be indigenous artwork painted on a wall. Fuck.jpg better call this in. They'll want to know this is here. Sitting around while the patrol commander and the SIG leave to get comms to hire. Start to get this really eerie feeling like we're sitting around somewhere we shouldn't be. A call comes in from hire, the tactical scenario is over. Set up camp for the night. Make sure nobody messes with the site, and we'll have someone out to look at it in the morning. Classic fucking politics. Set up our sleeping gear. Decide to run a single-man watch to make sure no idiot pretending to be enemy fucks with the site, and to man the radio. I take third watch. Don't get too much sleep. Still have that weird feeling like something isn't right. My watch rolls around and I drag my tired ass to the watch point. Start to notice this weird fucking smell. Like the smell of coagulating blood, but incredibly strong. Can almost taste it in my mouth. Try to convince myself it must be something to do with the minerals weeping from the rocks. All of a sudden, see a little burst of movement in the distance. Put night vision on. A pretty dark night. Visibility still pretty shit. Looks to be something moving between the rocks about 100 meters away. Walking like some kind of injured animal. Try to convince myself to not shit my pants and run at this point. Keep watching this thing move. Focus in my night vision goggles to it to get a better look. As I do this, it must have turned its head to look at me. Its eyes look like a cat's when you shine a light at them in the dark. Nervously, I check my watch to see when my watch is up. I look up and out of nowhere this thing sprints at me. Swear to God my heart stopped. It must have covered the 100 meters in less than 5 seconds. It was too close for my night vision to focus. In a flurry, I flicked them up onto my helmet and closed my eyes, ready for this thing to hit me. Nothing. Opened my eyes. Nothing. Must have screamed because one of my buddies woke up and came up to see what the fuck was going on. He said I looked like shit and he'd take the rest of my watch. Tried to tell him what happened, but couldn't get a word out. Got back to my sleeping bag and zipped myself in. One of those sleeping bags with a zip that goes all the way around to keep the warmth in. Shivering in fear and piss, trying to rationalize what just happened. Must have been like that for hours before I finally managed to doze off. Wake up in one of those confused states, trying to remember if I had dreamt it all. Then the smell comes back. Worse this time. It's like the air is too thick to breathe. I start to freak again, searching for the zip on my sleeping bag. Then I feel this pressure, almost like a hand, pushing my sleeping bag into my face. I can't fucking move. I can't fucking breathe. I can't even fucking scream. Close my eyes in pure terror, manage a pathetic, muffled scream. Open my eyes to my foxhole buddy's flashlight on my face. He says he heard me screaming, so he came over. He couldn't undo the zip on my sleeping bag and thought I was suffocating, so he cut it open. It was about another hour till the sun came up. I sat up with my buddy shivering and not saying a word. We got out the next day. I still don't know if I'm insane or if there was actually something out there.
I have only one nope story. Be me, like 9 to 10 years old. I was fishing on a lake deep in this forest alone. We were camping. It was late in the evening. I was about to head home until I started to hear a bunch of noises. It was a whole group of deer running through the forest. My dumb self decided to follow them. Long story short, I totally lost the deer and got myself hopelessly lost in the forest. It was pitch black. The only light I had was a small flashlight which I took. It barely did anything. I think I started to find an old path where I knew it would take me back to my camper. All of the sudden, I hear a noise far away. It sounds like really heavy footfalls. I speed up and almost start to run. The sound is getting a lot closer now. I know I can't outrun whatever it is, so I turn off my flashlight and throw myself into a bush. I sit there, holding my breath as whatever it is approaches. At first I thought it was a bear, but I hear it start breathing. If you've heard a death rattle, it was like that but more forceful. I couldn't see it, so it might have been an injured bear or something, but it sounded very large. It stops around my general area for a moment. I remember it smelling like sweat and dirt, so bad I could hardly breathe. All of the sudden, it just turns around and runs away. I waited in that bush for like 20 minutes to make sure it was gone, and then I ran as fast as I could out of there.
Be me 6 or 7 years old. Elementary school, 90s early fall PE classes outside because it's still sunny. PE classes in we just hang out outside on school grounds doing whatever, as long as the teacher may see us we're good. Playing some kiddie games with my friends, being Power Rangers or whatever, when we notice some commotion a bit further away from the main yard. We approach the group of boys from our class and they say they can hear some noises coming from beneath a specific square concrete brick on the ground. The whole yard is paved with them. One of them says it's the sound of hell. Feeling weird about it, but I decide to try and listen. Get on all fours. Press my ear to the ground. Hear white noise, not unusual when you press your ear to the ground, but also hear some sort of dull knocking coming from beneath, fast and kinda regular. Now I would say maybe reminding me of a Morse code sort of thing. Kinda spooked because I didn't expect to hear anything, and yet here it is for real. What the hell is that? The concrete bricks are pretty worn out. They seem rather loose and there's some space between them. We decide to lift it up and check what's beneath it. Struggling because the shit is heavy and hard to move, but we finally manage to get a firm hold on it. We lift it up. In the dirt beneath the concrete block lies a broken, used glass syringe, thin and with the needle still in it. One kid starts crying. What the fuck? It was really bizarre, and I have no idea how that thing got there, or how those kids found that brick in the first place. We reported it to our teacher, and she got pretty damn stressed and never let us walk away from the main yard again. We tried to look for it later, but the teachers took care of it, of course. It was all pretty damn surreal.
Be me. Be a sonar tech in the Navy on a small pontoon-like ship in the middle of Redacted on day Redacted. Be a newbie, so I stand night watch in a small computer lab from 2200 to 0600. In the middle of Redacted, so cigarettes cost like $15 a carton, since we're in a tax exclusion zone. I take frequent breaks and smoke like a shit ton, because night watch is boring as fuck. Ordinarily surrounded by fishing ships, shrimp ships, merchant traffic, etc. Be like 4:45 local, just before sunrise. Not a single vessel from horizon to horizon. Enjoy a nice, crisp, refreshing fifth cigarette of the watch. Nothing to catch my eye, so I scan the sky for the planets being so close to sunrise, since I'm taking an astronomy class through the Navy. See like two weird, steady orange lights, maybe 10,000 feet in the air, maybe 30 miles out. Hard to judge since I was in the middle of the ocean. They slowly increase in brightness over the course of my cigarette, advancing generally toward us. Curiosity peaking.web. Fuck it. Light a second cigarette. This shit's getting interesting. A few more. Smaller lights appear as a cloud, plausibly natural, or an exhaust plume, less plausibly so, starts to promulgate around the lights, all the while getting slowly brighter. I think maybe it's a flare, but it's way too high in the sky, and lingered for way too long, and showed no sign of pulsing intensity. Maybe a missile test from Country Redacted, and they're doing it early in the morning so as not to draw attention. The water is too deep to retrieve missiles here, even for Country Redacted. Go back inside. Call the bridge for any radar contacts. The bridge reports NADA down that bearing. No aircraft or vessels. Ask my supervisor if I can take another break, like literally 10 minutes later. Fuck you. Newbie. You just smoked for like 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure I saw aliens but have no context other than some spooky lights. No one believed me when I said I saw weird lights, or they were just disinterested.
Grew up in rural Wales. Friends and I used to play in this big empty plot of land. Big overgrown fields, some woods, cliffs that overlook the sea, etc. Found out years later that it used to have a radar base on it during World War II. We called it Mexland. One day, we're there playing hide and seek or something. I find this big bone. I'm a dumb kid, so my imagination gets the better of me. Hey guys, look! I found a dinosaur bone. Take it back to friend's grandparents' house. It's next to Mexland. Their garden has this stone wall which marks the boundary. Friend's grandfather, this nice old fisherman, says it's probably a cow bone, too big to be anything else. Says it looks pretty fresh despite having all of the flesh stripped off. Says he doesn't know how a cow bone got into that land. The nearest cattle farm is miles from there. He shrugs it off. We're dumb kids and get excited about mystery. Get our spears, bamboo poles with sharp rocks tied to the top on with duct tape. Go back to where I found the bone in Mexland. The woods are close by. Go in, looking for clues. Make a fun day of it, hanging around in the woods with our spears, making up stories. Find nothing, and it's getting dark. Go back. Friends' grandparents phone our parents to come and get us. In the garden, standing on the stone wall, looking towards the tree line. Friend is shining a big torch, flashlight. Suddenly, light reflects on something that looks like eyes. We freeze. They're blinking. Definitely eyes. Watching us. Begin to make out the silhouette. The thing's big. Sort of like a big dog or a bear or something. No fucking bears in Britain. It stands up on its hind legs. Can't say how tall it was pretty far away. And this was a long time ago. But tall. At least as tall as a man. Car beeps outside. One of our parents. The thing runs into the woods. Never went back to Mexland.
B10. Trying to sleep. Doors fly open. Drawers do too. Stuffed animal flies out of my arms and down the hall. Shriek for 30 seconds from down the hall. Decide the best course of action is to climb out my window. Book it down the street to my grandma's house and stay with her until morning. Grandma tells me that what happened was because my parents wouldn't listen to her. I asked her what they didn't listen to her about when I was 20, but that is an entirely different story. Okay, time for backstory. Grandma is one of those old ladies that has been around forever and in all honesty might end up outliving me. I'm 30 now and she is 80. She is also, according to her, a medium. She often makes predictions about my life and they turn out correct about 3 or 4 days later. She's also good at picking out things that aren't quite right. On to the story. At the time, we lived in an area that had suffered a massive landslide in 1976. Close to 27 people died and around 30 were missing. I say missing in quotes as that is the official explanation. Obviously, they died. My parents are checking out houses on my grandma's street. Grandma has agreed to check it out with them. As soon as they walk in, Grandma gets the chills. She gives the place the benefit of the doubt, though, as my parents really like the place. They check out the whole place. My grandma gets bad feelings from the basement and the living room. As they check out the kitchen, she sees him, an old man. His head is partially caved in, and his arms and legs are bent in strange angles. His torso is crushed and crinkled like a stomped soda can. My grandma tells my parents what she sees, and they write it off as her messing with them. She tells them numerous times to leave, and that the old man isn't happy they are here, but they still won't listen. We move in 2 weeks later, and my original story occurs about 5 months after we move in.
When I was in middle school, I had a Spanish teacher who told us this story. As most teachers in Mexico, she's sent to a little village as a student teacher. There she roomies with another pair of young teachers, all female. One of them was this little preppy girl who loved to party. The other one was the serious type. She dressed similarly to a 90s goth and had a boyfriend who lived in the village. One night, the teacher, let's call her Gabby, being the nerd she was, is studying for some important exam they all are going to take in some days. Preppy girl and goth are going out to some party in a makeshift place like a bodega. They ask Gabby to join them, but she's too busy. As they say their goodbyes, she notices goth girl looked annoyed. She recalls then that goth and the boyfriend had been fighting over some friend of his. This friend wanted the boyfriend and goth knew both of them would be there. Night rolled, the girls never came back, and in the morning, Gabby is awoken by knocks at their door. It's the police. They have preppy girl who is crying at the back of the police car. She is escorted inside, and breaks down wailing in their living room. After the police leave so she can calm down, Gabby asks her what happened. Turns out, Goth Girl and her boyfriend had a fight because the girlfriend of the boyfriend was dancing with him when they arrived. The boyfriend yells at her, gives preference to the friend and breaks up there and then with Goth while the other girl was watching. Preppy is watching from afar how Goth was just going in circles around them. She looked mad as hell as the girl and the boyfriend get more intimate with each other. Then the girl leaned in for a kiss. Goth runs up to them like a mad bull and pulls the girl apart from him. They started fighting, yelling and scratching at each other. That's when Preppy notices. Goth Girl's friends were closing in on both girls, yelling at Goth to punch her harder, and between them, a guy she had never seen. He was wearing an all-black suit, pale skin, and a weird attitude in general. At the moment this guy was close to them, Goth took the girl and sent her against the floor, and she fucking got caught on fire. Everyone rushed outside yelling and shoving each other. Preppy said that the last thing she saw was the guy in the suit laughing as a pair of horns engulfed in flames crowned his head. Now Gabby wasn't one to believe the paranormal. She calmed down Preppy and asked her if she told that story to the police. She did, but they didn't believe her, obviously. They did some drug and alcohol exams on her and sent her back home until she could give a better explanation of what she saw that night. Later that day, Gabby and Preppy went to the police. She told them some fake story about how someone spilled some beer, and it somehow caught fire by the light of some cigarette. Goth was apparently missing. The boyfriend and the girl died during the fire, he supposedly trying to stop the flames. Preppy couldn't sleep anymore, having nightmares all the time, so she went back to her parents. Meanwhile, my teacher, she started to believe her. Turns out, the next day, the small community paper published the story about the fire with a photo of the place in flames on the front page. There in the center, the flames form the face of something malign, with horns and a mocking expression laughing over the destruction. My teacher said that she saved the paper and took it back with her to her parents' home. The picture of the demonic face caused as much of a riot as it could on that small village. She forgot about the picture and left it at home when she moved with her husband. When she tried to retrieve it, her mother told her that she had found it and threw it out to be destroyed. Sorry about my English, as it's not my first language.
B14. Hanging out with 3 friends at the beach. It gets dark, we decide to hang around in an abandoned house near the shore. It's dark. One guy brought a flashlight. Explore the whole house, pretty small, nothing really interesting. We hang out on the 2nd floor just telling stories. Suddenly we hear someone downstairs. We panic, thinking we'll get in trouble for being there. We sit silently, hearing the footsteps get closer, slowly going up each step. We hear them go right past the room we're in, continue upstairs. They keep going up, stop on the top floor. We sit for about 10 minutes just not saying anything. We start whispering to each other. Someone dares another to go up. We argue about it, decide to go up together. I end up in front somehow. We go up the stairs, trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm legit shaking. The flashlight is bouncing everywhere in my hands. The top floor is just one room, a converted attic. I open the door and find nothing. No one. We check every corner of the room, no furniture or any secret holes or anything. The house is still completely empty aside from us. Nope, the fuck home. This still comes up every time in drinking with any of those guys. We laugh about it and tell other people the story, but it was legit one of the freakiest things that ever happened to me.
Used to work at this old lumber yard that used to have its own sawmill. Place was built in 1897, a bunch of outbuildings and whatnot, but the main building was where the sawmill was and is now just rental space. Also where the bathrooms and main office were. The company didn't use all the space, so me and a few friends rented a garage there. At night when the building was locked up, we would see lights turn on and off. We would see shadows sometimes through the windows. This was seen by us standing in the parking lot in front of our garage. I never liked going in there at night, or at all really. I had keys to the place so I could use the bathrooms. One night I was in there because of a greasy barbecue joint up the road that I got food from all the time. Then all the lights went out. As I got into the dark hallway, I noticed the lights were still on outside. Then I heard footsteps coming down the stairwell at the other end of the hall. I proceeded to fully nope out of there. I rarely hung around in the building alone. The secretary, who had a cat in the office, often said the cat would act strange, meow at nothing, etc. I was in the main building going to the bathroom again. I was minding my business and forgot about the stairs incident. Then I heard the ratchet mechanism for the sawmill log lift start to ratcheting. I should say that the sawmill had been in use since the 70s. The power unit for it was missing along with a bunch of other parts including the blade, but the lift and the table were still there. I was kinda spooked just hearing it go to ting to ting. I was too chicken to look, just noped out.
Probably nothing, but it still spooked the hell out of me at the time. Be me, getting off the train in a middle of nowhere town I live in. It's 2 in the goddamn morning. Not many buildings near the shitty train platform, so naturally there's shit all street lights. A faint glow of the local Mickey D's in the distance. Can go 2 ways to get back home from the train station. The long way. Up the sidewalk along the shitty roads that run through town. Or the short way. A crudely constructed path through thick vegetation, literally pitch black the entire way through at the time. Fucking tired as hell. Decide fuck it, I'll go through the creepy ass forest tunnel. Take 2 steps off the train platform and get immediately hit with an overwhelming sense of dread and paranoia. Try to stay calm and shrug it off as me just being tired as hell and spooked out because it's dark. Then I see it, shitting bricks.midi. Between 2 trees right by the entrance to the short path is this vaguely human figure. It's fucking massive though. Its undefined body darker than the already pitch black entrance to the path itself. And its face, it was just 2 white slits where eyes would usually be. Its mouth almost the same but sideways and warping around almost like it was talking. Nope, the fuck out of there right that second. Hold up in the McDonald's, which is open 24/7, until it was nice and bright out. I haven't taken that damn train anywhere since due to the fact that it only runs every other day and leaves at fucking midnight.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.